Hi, welcome back to my channel. I basically wanted to do a video because I deleted one that I made the other day because I was like, oh, it's just not really aligned with my New Age to Jesus videos, and it was about spirituality, and I feel like I just have to be deliberate about what I post on there because I don't want to like drag people down the hole that I went into with all that stuff. And also, I don't know, something just made me want to delete it, so I could always re-upload it, I don't know. I've got a chocolate egg, but I want to talk about feeling happy. I think what I used to do when I was posting videos, which was quite helpful, was to, when you are going through something, to post a video based on that, and that's helpful. So this one was just me on how to feel, like feeling happy when you're not feeling happy, because I find lots of things affect that. Like, I look a bit shit today, like I'm feeling, like I look like I'm feeling shit, but I know why and I know how to make myself feel better. And I do think things can massively affect it, like the supplements you take, the food you eat, the lifestyle you have, the purpose you have, the events that are going on in your life, the people that are in your life, the amount you're socialising. I was like, had this like mood journal recently. Your time of the month as well, definitely, and the time of year it is, and the weather and stuff. So there's like a million things that factor into it. And like if you like your job or you've got a job or whatever, and so like, but I think on a chemical and nutritional level, like it's really important to get certain supplements in. Like I literally have been using valerian root and St. John's wort recently, and starflower oil is really good if you have like hormonal, if you want to like get your hormones properly like calibrated. That's been really good for me, and I'm not using them right now because I ran out. So that's one of the reasons. Supplements are really good, and good food, like the main ones, I swear. Obviously, you know, it then comes to like what you want to do as a job, you know, what, you know, is interesting to people to do as a job, because it really like depends what kind of person you are. Like this is obviously going to be related to me, so if you don't want to listen to it from my mindset, I would suggest, you know, unless you just want to listen to me talk, but it's like, you know, what job you find works for you. Oh, and you know, it's tricky because I think it depends whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you, which job you like. You know, if you're an introvert, are you going to be trying to do a really social job? Or, and also it depends if you're like a 9 to 5 person as well. If you're a 9 to 5 person, you might like office work. If you're not a 9 to 5 person, you might like shift work, you know, and I like shift work. It's also like when people try and derive, I hope you can hear me because I'm not speaking very clearly, I'm speaking quite fast and in short snippets. I think you could perform an art school and they tell you project, speak clearly and eloquently. But yeah, so because I think as well when you're in a job, it's also like this, the type of people you're surrounded by, like whether you have the same kind of vibe as them. Because I've definitely had it in certain jobs where I'm like, I've just so either outgrown this season of this job and I just don't want to do it anymore, or like, and stuff like that. I think, you know, when it's come to an end, like a relationship, I think it's the same with a job. That's always been for me, where I'm like, right, I need to move on now, like this is not for me anymore. Or like obviously your circumstances change, it means you have to or want to leave. I think it's also about when people like derive their happiness and what their perceived happiness from something tangible, like a job, because obviously it does make a difference when you have like the right supplements and the right stuff in your body to create the happy hormones and stuff, but equally, and the right life circumstances and stuff, but equally I think, you know, when you look to something purely, as like a focus that's going to create your happiness. It's just not necessarily the truth. Like, some people are like workaholics and they love to work, and I think for me it's even like that. When I'm in the right job, you know, I do really like it and I like thrive in it. Like, I'm actually trying to start a business at the moment. On and off, just figuring out how that will work. I might get my online store up and going again, so we'll see. I think it's difficult to advertise that on YouTube though, because like people all over the world that watch it. And obviously they don't want stuff shipped to them, but I might do it in England, so it's like stuff like that, you know, if you're entrepreneurial mindset, that's always something fun to do. But yeah, like when you like try and derive all of your joy from like one thing, I think it can be kind of misleading for you to put focus on something that's not necessarily going to be the answer, because I think there's lots of different factors that come into it. But I also think sometimes through, and I think this is always a myth, it's something I figured out a long time ago, I think it's actually a myth when people think that something in particular is going to bring, that something in particular is like a recipe for happiness. Like, there's nothing wrong with testing out new things and building habits and blah blah, but I think because of marketing and because of systems and stuff like that, I think there's this like meritocracy in repetitiveness and in like who can be the most repetitive and consistent in being productive and being successful and being this and being that and being the other. At the end of the day, success looks different for different people. One person will find success in their family, and one person will find success in a high-powered career, and one person will find success in travelling, and one person will find success in running their own business. Do you know what I mean? And each of those things will require different aspects of you and putting them into things. And I think obviously you do have to go with what you feel like internally. Like, this is always something that I always go back to, because this is where like patterns re-emerge in my life. I think, oh, here we are again, you know, not in a negative way, like unresolved issues, but like, you know, I think things go through cycles where sometimes you're dealing with issues with money, sometimes you deal with issues with something else, family, whatever, and it comes back round to this place. And yeah, it's definitely like you have to, but I always come back to often that the essence of you does not change. The essence of me does not change, the essence of you does not change. And I think when you have an aspiration to do something, and often, because either the universe will test you, if you want to look at it that way, or people will test you within that universal construct, if you want to look at it that way, and I think that is an easier way to digest it. And often it will deter you from doing things at times, but often it can either propel you in the right direction, but actually it can strip you back and either refine you in a good way, but also it can break you down in negative ways where you have to build yourself back up again. And there is the aspect of rising like a phoenix, and usually that does happen. When you crumble for whatever reason, you tend to come back 10 times stronger, and that is just the truth. And that has come from harsh life experience and also life experience in general, and I think that's just a rule of thumb generally. But it's the way someone knocks you down isn't always the way you rise back up, and that is something important to remember, not only for yourself. This is such a evolving conversation, not only for yourself but also for relationships with other people, because I think sometimes people have this mindset of like, I can change this person if I just if I break them down and show them like this is not what they're supposed to do, then they will be this way. Do you know what I mean? And that's not necessarily the truth. They might just see you breaking them down and think, right, yeah, fuck this, I'm gonna do this now. Do you know what I mean? That's such an important thing to validate in life. And I suppose we gravitate towards different people, but equally human beings always surprise me and the way that all works, because weirdly enough people have relationships with people that they really shouldn't logically have relationships with at times, I find, and it's very beneficial because the universe always brings you something new to learn, so that's always good. But yeah, I think when it comes to actually striving to get more out of life, I do think whether you want to call it manifestation or whether you want to just call it like internal planning and mind mapping and road mapping, I don't think there's anything wrong with using the word manifestation when you call it, you know, searching for your inner desires, you know, to write them out on something, preferably a notebook, I find, but whatever, phone, could be anything, and create some ideas, because I think I do also find that sometimes at different times of the month I feel more and less creative and more and less in touch with my desires, should I just say, and to write out what you want to do and be productive in that way, and what you want to achieve, what kind of life you want to explore. Do you want to travel? Do you want to get do out your house so it's nice and tidy and clean and declutter it a bit? Do you want to implement a cleaning schedule? Do you want to make some more money by creating a business? Do you want to dye your hair? Do you want to cut your hair? Do you know what I mean? It's just these things. Look for a relationship, stuff like that, and it's really just fulfilling to meet those own desires, because I do think naturally with most people, I would say, because I do think it's tricky when people, especially when they give off this illusion that they either have a sort of very functional, like say for example, often it comes in workplaces that you see someone's mask of professionalism and you don't see the person underneath, and you can connote from that that they are very put together people. Often this happens with narcissists as well, but anyway, let's not get into the whole narcissism spiel again. But you often don't see the struggles they have, so you can't internalize anyone's perfectionism on anyone's perfect life, because it just simply doesn't exist. But to get onto the level of building from the ground up at various times in life, because you are always going to be knocked down to the point where you do have to build from the ground up, because there are people that are working at a minus, like narcissists, that can't hold a stable relationship without being really difficult, and often get rejected by lots of people. They are working at this very low level below people that are able to do that start here. Narcissists operate down here, do you know what I mean? So I'm just saying that we all have our internal struggle, but they often give off this face of perfectionism, so you might think, oh, perfect life all the time. No, they're trying really hard to prove that they're not like that. So yeah, just had to add a bit of narcissism update in there. But yeah, I think it's always fun to be in touch with yourself. So I'm just gonna let it be there because that seemed to have run itself off nicely. Thanks for listening.